And now for a session presented by Cognizant. Please welcome the Vice President and General Manager, Travel and Hospitality at Cognizant, Joseph Rajadurai, and the Vice President of Global Talent Acquisition at Hyatt, Jen Ivacic, in discussion with Skift ex-Head of Studio, Jeremy Kressmann.
Jen, Joe, welcome to Global Forum. I'm really excited to have you both here. This panel is about one of the big challenges that I think is facing our industry in 2022. After all of the travel disruptions and changes in habits that we've seen the past 2 years, how does our industry actually deliver great experiences in this new environment? I think most of us probably think about experiences, of course, in terms of how we serve customers, right? We'll talk about that. But I think how we deliver experiences also applies to the solutions we provide to our employees as well. So Jen, I would love to start with you. Let's talk a little bit about the employee experience. You oversee hiring strategy for Hyatt. This is one of the biggest hospitality brands in the world. You've described the current hiring environment as a war for talent. Tell us what kinds of challenges Hyatt is facing as you try and deliver on that employee experience question and meet rising guest expectations in 2022.
Thank you, Jeremy, and hello, everyone. I'm Jen Ivacic, and I lead the Global Talent Acquisition function for Hyatt, and apologies that I couldn't be there in person today, but I appreciate the Skift team for being able to accommodate me virtually from Chicago.
Of course.
At Hyatt, people are truly at the center of what we do, and our purpose is to care for people so they can be their best. And this includes our guests and our over 160,000 colleagues. We have a business that's dependent on our people every day, delivering on the promises of the guest experience and expectations. And in order to deliver that, it's critical that we attract and retain the right talent for our current and future needs.
Right.
We're in a time where everyone rates everything, products, services, students are even rating their professors now. Our colleagues have an opportunity through every touch point with a guest to elevate their experience and increase their loyalty to our brand. And there are a lot of terms now that start with great but aren't very positive, such as the great resignation, great reshuffling, great renegotiation, the great retirement. And the sum of all these parts reflect the current state of uneven supply and demand. So at Hyatt, one way that we've been responding to the changing expectations of candidates has been by embedding agile testing and experimentation to our processes, such as shorter recruitment, application, and overall interview cycle times and processes, rethinking or removing required or preferred qualifications. We've also conducted on-the-spot hires and tapped into non-traditional talent pools. We hire refugees. We have an initiative called Rise High, which is the goal of hiring 10,000 opportunity youth globally. And opportunity youth is defined as youth between 16 and 24 that are neither in school or employed. And we found by investing in them, they've invested in us, which we've seen with higher retention. So retention is also the other part of this too, and another key focus area, and slows down the revolving door of recruitment. So some examples of these are allowing for flexibility within roles, modifying schedules, cross-training colleagues into other areas to show them where they might want to grow their careers, and caring for their well-being holistically with tools and resources and establishment of a global well-being council. And the thought is that if our colleagues are well, they can better care for our guest customers and each other. So all of this to say that if we try to meet people where they are and strike the balance of that business continuity with that empathy and responsiveness to our colleagues' preferences.
Jen, that's so interesting. Clearly, there's a lot happening in the hiring and retention and employee space right now. It seems like it's really important to get your employees up to speed quickly, right? You mentioned this retention challenge, bringing in new people that may not be familiar with the brand. Are you using any strategies to try and rally employees around shared values or goals? And then I'm also wondering, how do you satisfy employee needs for support? You know, a new employee comes in, they don't know all the processes and the tools. How do you help get them up to speed on that quickly?
Yeah. Employees need to feel a sense of shared purpose and belonging that's authentic to them. So underpinning our company values, we have supporting behaviors that align to the expectations that we have for current and future leaders. And this is something seen in how it's kind of woven and threaded throughout our communications, but more importantly, it's felt and expressed in how employees experience it. So not just words on a screen or a wall, our values are truly experienced and reflected in our colleagues through their actions. And something that connects me to our values is through our World of Care platform, which is our global ESG approach to advancing care for our planet, people, and responsible business. So, and as part of our Caring for People pillar, we are passionate and have made commitments to diversity, equity, and inclusion, and constantly strive to reflect the world that we care for. And we have goals in the following areas: who we employ, develop, and advance, who we support, who we buy from and work with. So when our values are reflected through our actions and commitments, this authenticity of the employee experience translates directly into how we care for our guests.
Yeah, it's so great to hear you mentioning some of the DEI initiatives that you're working on at Hyatt, and getting people to feel like they're part of the values of the brand. Joe, I'd love to shift gears here. You know, Jin just told us quite a bit about this employee experience. I want to talk to you about customer experience, because that's obviously changed quite a bit since the pandemic. Technology's been a big part of this, right? How is that technology translating into the experiences that guests are having in the travel industry today? And I'd love to hear some examples, if you can, of what you're seeing in the market.
Yeah, thanks, Jeremy. One of the ways we see this is closely tied to the employee experience itself. How do you put more power in the guest's hands, things that they experience with the brand, be it a hotel or an airline, the walk that they have from the time they book to actually come to the place or to travel, and then their experience during the journey. That process can really be enhanced by well-designed technology. So technology which is really puts the guests at the center of the design. So a guest has a certain set of use cases. Can you make it more self-service enabled? Can you automate some of these things? And we've seen a lot of examples. You know, one of our clients is a global operator of resorts and hotels, and a key capability we delivered for them was really guest experience automation. You know, put more self-service capabilities like choosing your room, checking in, or actually even opening the door. These kind of capabilities, when you deliver, it has the twin benefit of both the employees feeling that they have more time on their hands, and the guests feel more empowered. Similarly, in the airline context, you know, air passengers have a lot of touch points that happen with the brand or the airline. And can you use more self-service capability and push more of that capability into the hands of the guest? And that's something we have seen with the airlines as well. Obviously, the trick in all of this is everybody understands these things, but to deliver on it requires good, solid technology design. And that's a space that, you know, we've been very focused on to see, can we come up with solutions that really tie all the disparate technologies to deliver the right value in the hands of the guests, which ultimately benefits the employees and then drives retention and it drives better guest satisfaction. So that's something we're very focused on. We built a tool called Guest Experience Engine, which would help our clients do this journey faster and with greater chances of success.
I think that self-service point is so important. I mean, I think we've all experienced this in our daily lives, right? But thinking about how it applies in hospitality, and I think of what Jin was talking about before, if you can simplify the easy parts of doing the hospitality experience, then you can focus on those higher level things that really matter to the guests, right?
That's right.
Joe, let's talk about data for a second. I mean, data is this buzzword in the industry. People want to use data, figure out how to analyze it, apply it to their business. As we gather more information about our customers' habits and employee habits for that matter, how do we actually use that to make better experiences?
Yeah, I mean, data pretty much drives everything. People say data is the fuel that drives everything. And they're not wrong, because one of the things that is in today's world is we generate a lot of data. It could be on your website or your mobile, or it could be in property, interacting with the screen. All of that generates tons of data, which gives you the opportunity to really understand customers much better. If you pair it with the kind of technology capabilities we have in the cloud, being able to analyze a lot of data, put more artificial intelligence on how you deliver value out of the data, there is a tremendous opportunity. You know, one of the examples that comes to mind is for a restaurant client of mine. You know, we did this. We analyzed their customer preferences, tied it to the kind of offers that would make sense for them.
Sure.
And you design an offer package which serves two objectives. One is the guest feels that they're getting something that is of value. The suggestion or the offer that is given to them is of value, and the chain benefits from what they can get out of it in terms of higher sales, of course. So there is a good value that can flow if you analyze data well and you're able to present the right type of insights. And that's something we have seen, and you can repeat that in pretty much all the other sectors as well.
Sure. So it elevates that customer experience if you
absolutely.
use it properly. I'd like to ask each of you to predict what you think will happen in the travel experience space in the next 1 to 2 years. Are we expecting more of the disruptions we've seen, or do you think we're going to foresee some changes to that on the horizon? Jen, maybe you can start us off here.
Sure, I think that disruption is probably here to stay, maybe not to the same level as what we've experienced in the past 2.5 years or so, but I still think that it's gonna force innovation and creativity on our parts, and by continuing to kind of deepen how we understand our employees and customers through listening and their feedback and preferences, that we'll be able to enhance their experiences in new ways. And I also think that leisure travel and well-being will continue to grow in importance as they've really become ways of life. And then lastly, I would say, as hospitality is all about people, I expect that workforces will become more inclusive and diverse, which will resonate with the diversity and expectations of our guests.
Right. Joe, any final thoughts?
Yeah, I think there is some which will be incremental in nature, and there are others which could be more transformative in nature. The incremental one is digitization of customer experience. We're still in the early stages in this sector. The easiest parts that can be done have been done, but that journey will continue onwards. More self-service, more automation will be pushed into the hands of the guests. Employee enablement will continue, that you provide more capabilities in the hands of the employees to recognize loyal guests, drive better value to guests. All of that stuff will continue. I would say that's more the incremental nature of it. The bigger opportunity will come in putting more substance behind things like sustainability. So we talk about sustainability. Can technology impact sustainability? I think there is a huge opportunity in how we manage energy, how we utilize space. For all of that, the technology is here. It's just not adopted at scale in this sector. I really think that will be the next one that will drive change over the next couple of years.
I think those are some hopeful words to end this on. Joe, Jen, it's been a pleasure. If you'd like to learn more about Cognizant, if you go to cognizant.com, click on the industry tab, and then travel and hospitality, you can find out more about what they're up to. Thank you again to you both.
Yeah, thank you for having us.
Thank you.